We've got flags and banners, and if you mind your manners, we might even get to standards and what they represent. So just take my voice's hand and we'll both try to understand how this Vexillologic podcast could be flagged for content. Flagged for content.
What's up, VexHeads, and welcome to episode 59 of Flagged for Content. It's the only podcast that just had a family flag made for its host. So if you're on the video version, you can see that here. Actually, you know what? I'll throw it in the show notes for those not on video. Also, it is a Flags for Good podcast, which I mention every week because one, I'm contractually obligated to, but two, I would do it anyway because Michael and the gang over there are producing fantastic flags every day. As I said on the last episode, they've got a lot, like every day, they've got new election season stuff. So go over to flagsforgood.com/flagged4content for like the number. And when you go to check out, doesn't matter which flag you buy, it could be the show's, it's on there. You can type in code flagged4content for, again, like the number, at checkout and get yourself a sweet little deal and give the show some love as well. I think that's it. I wasn't trying to do a ton of admin up top this week other than the usual, hey, join the Patreon, join the Discord stuff. That's all in our link tree, just linktree.com/flagged4content. So the only things I wanted to mention for this episode with Tareth was anytime Tareth and I record, there is a little bit of a delay, like an AV delay. The video usually works out most of those kinks, but there are going to be a couple times where we talk over each other briefly. I think somehow mostly near the end, which is strange, but fine. Anyway, so just to explain why we sometimes talk over each other or, whatever there. Let me see. Oh, okay. I wanted to mention that it was recorded in early August, but is obviously coming out just now. So some of these things are less timely. Tareth and I talk about it being early August and we have 2 months till Vex Day. We now have 1 month, or slightly under 1 month. So, go ahead and get those submissions in now. And yeah, I think, the only other note I have written for myself here is to give Tareth's socials up top for submissions, etc. I think we give them several points in the episode, but I must have made this note for a reason. So Tareth's socials are at Flags in Focus on anywhere with an @ sign. And his YouTube channel is also called Flags in Focus. So go check him out over there. And yeah, at the absolute risk of not boring you guys with more admin than is necessary, let's go ahead and get into this very special episode with Tareth Peacock. Folks, we have got a familiar face back in the Flag for Content studios this week. You know him from his YouTube channel, Flags in Focus. You know him from his flag videos in every country he visits, and there are a lot. And you know him from having the most appearances on this very show. It's Tareth Peacock!
Hello, 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 hello.
How's it going, Tareth?
It's going incredibly well. Thank you very much. I'm here stuck in the middle of the flag layer, you'll be pleased to see. But apart from that, it's, having a ball of a time at the moment. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. So you guys are, as we were talking off air a little bit, in the middle of a heat wave, and you are in the flag layer, which is probably like the hottest part of the house.
It's ridiculously warm in here, yes. And us Brits don't deal with heat at all. Although personally, I love it. So I'm the one that's always outside in the deserted streets, just trying to get as much sunshine and vitamin D as possible. But yeah, this country,
Right.
It falls apart as soon as it gets above 25 degrees centigrade. Whatever that is in Fahrenheit, I don't know. I'm terribly sorry. But 25 degrees. And it's just, we're ridiculous over here.
So, yeah, for sure. A couple things. One, that, viewers and listeners, that is the dedication that Tareth is bringing to the craft here. He's sitting in the hottest room of the house on a very hot day just to show you the flag layer behind him. Secondly, I did want to ask, like, since we love talking about weather here at the top of the show, so like, yeah, it's crazy hot there, but you also mentioned you wouldn't mind living in like Dubai. I know you went to like most of the Central Asian like Stan countries very recently. Like,
Yeah.
how does I'm sure Dubai is more built for the heat, but when you're in like the Central Asian like countries, like are they built for heat?
They all of them are. They're all designed around capturing sort of the coolness and the shade where they need to be. So their buildings are designed that way. Air conditioning all throughout, of course, because they're used to it. And some of the buildings are designed in such a way to keep the airflow flowing. So they know how they've been doing this for a millennia plus, haven't they? So they've lived in these conditions, and they get it. They absolutely get it. Whereas in the UK, we have 3 days of hot weather, and then everything just falls apart, and the buildings just become like glass greenhouses, and it's just ridiculous. So, and there's no air conditioning. Anyway, you have to go and sit in the car if you want to get air conditioning.
Right.
So, yeah, it's fine. But yeah, Dubai, which is obviously much hotter than what the UK ever gets. There's something about that city in the UAE, of course, that I love. I may have mentioned this before, but anybody who used to play Sim City, that's Dubai, and I absolutely love it. The whole thing, and I get that some people think it's horrific, but I don't know. I just love these jungle cities like that. New York, when we went there, that was another city I absolutely fell in love with. So there's obviously something like that, which is strange because I've never lived in the city. I've always lived out in the suburbs somewhere. So, but yeah,
right.
Because Dubai is catered for the heat and the weather, and it's great. I would go in a heartbeat if I could. Absolutely drop everything and go now if I could. The suitcases are ready on standby.
Fair enough. Right on. And you already know where all the good like flag spots are and everything good there too. So
they have an island called Flag Island, which obviously has the UAE flag on it. And that's it. That's its sole purpose, that island. I mean, why would I not want to be there?
Any VexHead would want to go there. Yeah. Flag Island. I mean, hell, there's a like subdivision down the street called Flagstone, and I'm like, I wonder what goes on in there.
Is it just a small rock?
Probably nothing cool. It's just a small rock, yeah. Flag painted on it or something. No, I don't know. Editor, cut that part. All right, so that's enough weather talk. That's more than enough, I would wager. So we'll get to what you guys are looking forward to, which is what is on the flagpole today. And a little bit different, I have to say, since we've had Tareth on a few times, we are eschewing our usual over and underrated flags to go over some rare, unique, and officially unofficial ones that Tareth has in his vast collection. We will dive into World Vexillology Day, how it started, where it's going, and just what it means. And we will catch up on how Tareth's channel has changed since the rebranding. But first, before we get into any of that, Tareth, I like to ask my guests, what is your favorite flag?
Glad you asked that. Well, I shall get thusly. So it's a difficult one, I must admit, but my favourite at the moment has got to be is my Refugee nation's flag. This particular one, all the way from a company called Flags for Good. You may have heard them. But yeah, heard of them, yes. But as soon as let's leave that one down here. As soon as I saw it, which I can't remember how I came across it originally, but as soon as I saw it, I thought, oh, now that's good. Sadly, it exists, and it's a shame that it has to exist for all the reasons of what it represents. But I do love the simplicity, the story. Obviously, the orange is for the refugees, is for the life jackets. The black is supposed to represent the belt of the life jacket. So it's hugely symbolic, designed by a Syrian refugee, Yara Said. Um, but yeah, it's a shame that she had to come up with the design in the first place because of obviously everything that sits behind being a refugee and what it stands for in the first place. But that aside,
Mm-hmm.
and I think, no, not as a side, but I think that's one of the reasons why I particularly do like it. I do fly it a lot, this particular flag. And I think it is a necessary flag purely because to get the message out there of the world of refugees, and oh god, I forget how many millions of them sadly there are, and that they make up a larger proportion population than some of the countries that we've got, which is just a horrific thought. Anyway, trying to bring it back up to something slightly more lighthearted. But the other thing, as you probably know, I don't like busy flags, and this is probably one of the most simplistic yet strong designs I think you can come across on a flag design, which is why I absolutely love it. And then obviously the story that sits behind it. That's why that currently, in amongst all of this, is my favourite flag at present.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know why or how I don't own that one, especially given, like you said, that is the one you have is from Flags for Good, which, yeah, I need to maybe drop Michael a line and be like, hey, could I snag one of those or something? But anyway, I know we had it. I don't know if it's been anyone's favorite. I know we had it as an underrated, or it may have been a favorite. I can't remember if it was underrated or favorite. Sometimes those do blend together a little bit. But on a somewhat recent episode. And yeah, I totally agree, especially as a fellow fan of, well, I think you like yours a little simpler than I do, but I do tend to skew that direction.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of the I guess like Latvian flag, with the one stripe being a lot thinner than the other two, and just using two colors, or I guess one color technically, if you want to call white and black metals or whatever. But yeah, it is really like sharp design. It stands out because of that orange. I mean, the orange from the jackets is meant to stand out for safety reasons, and the flag based on them stands out just by virtue of that. So I think it's definitely a winning design. As you said, sad that it has to be there. But I was going to ask, like, for the Olympics, do they use this flag? I have not been paying much attention.
Yeah, so no, they don't. But back in 2016 was when they wanted to push this out for the first time in the Olympics. So the 2016 Rio, anyway, whichever Olympics that was. And it was all ready to go. But the IOC stated because the refugee nation isn't an official recognised entity, for want of a better term, they didn't allow it, which is why they walk under the Olympic rings flag every time they come out. But the original idea was to definitely use it as part of the Olympics, and I think it would be great to see it flying. To be fair, because I think flying it under the Olympic rings is a bit of a cheat. The Olympic rings is for the whole games and everything that it stands for, and it'd be good to get the refugees to have something that is more specific to them, and I think this would be a great design. So I think they're missing a trick, but the IOC have got their rules, and who are we to argue?
Yeah, and it seems I don't know, odd, or maybe I just haven't thought about it a lot, but like the like Russian and Belarusian athletes have to compete as, like, they can't compete under their national flags, or etc. And it's got to be like, independent Olympic athlete or whatever, neutral athlete. And that's got its own flag. It's not much as far as flags go. It's like a seal and then it says what it is. But they don't make them do it under the Olympic rings flag. It seems like a weird, pardon the pun, but like double standard almost. Because I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You start getting into like who's at fault for X thing and Y thing if you dig too far into that stuff, and I don't want to like blame any athletes for things that their countries do or whatever, but it does seem odd that they give them a separate flag and the refugee one is I don't know. I like to think that someday this will make an appearance on that stage, but we'll see.
No, I agree totally. It'd be great to see it, and I think because I think the back in the 2020/21 Tokyo Olympics, Russia had to they used their Olympic Committee flag as opposed to the Russian flag, which included the rings and just the colours of Russia. But they couldn't fly the actual flag. I think that's how they agreed between themselves that they could get away with it. So but Anyway.
Anyway. All right. Well, that's
too political.
Without getting too political or depressing or both, yeah. All right. So for the listeners and viewers, Tareth came to me with some great ideas instead of over and underrated, because we did want to mix it up. And he was like, well, I've got some rare and unique ones. And I was like, are these the same flag? Is this different flags? There are different flags. And Tareth, I'll let you pick which one you want to go over first. If it's rare, unique, officially, unofficial. I suspect these are all going to be quite fun. So
let's go with the rare first, which I've got hanging up here. There's obviously a story behind it, as well as actually what it is. So this is a very old England Royal Standard flag, with its 3 lines and the fleur-de-lis. So I'm guessing there's a bit of French and English going on there. So it sort of hints at sort of the era that this is based at. But quite. It wasn't a flag that I chose to have. I'll give that story first. But I did buy it, but unknowingly. So Welsh company Mr. Flag, they occasionally have these mystery boxes that you can buy.
I was just going to guess that you got it in one of their mystery boxes.
Yes. So that came through with one of them. And I must admit, when I opened it, I was looking at it thinking, no, not a clue which one this is going to. It's obviously, it's a royal flag, but I couldn't work out when. So, and it's a complete contrast, obviously, to the previous flag, because to me, that's ridiculously busy, that one. But it's a royal standard between 1406 right up to 1603. And there's a 4-year gap in the middle, in the mid-1500s. I still haven't found out why this flag suddenly stops for 4 years and then comes back. But anyway, just for the nerds, it starts with Henry IV in 1406 and eventually finished with Elizabeth I in 1603. And then when James I took over from Elizabeth I, because James obviously, my history's come back in all of a sudden. I've just written that. So James I took over as King of England and Scotland.
He was the Stuart, right?
Yeah, he was James I and James VI, I think, as well at the same time. James I in England, Scotland,
right.
James VI of England, I think. Anyway, so obviously he chucked that flag out and designed a whole new one that incorporated Scotland somehow. I don't know. My royal flags is not brilliant, but I do remember, yes, James I coming in. So anyway, and the reason I've gone for rare, because I'm guessing that not many people would have such a specific flag in their collection. I might be wrong. Please write and tell Andy if I'm completely wrong on that one. Just don't tell me about it. So that's why I pulled it out. And I was thinking, I've flown it once. And when you and I were talking the other day about this particular episode, I thought this would be a good time to actually, a good excuse to get it out again. To show everybody, because it sits right at the back, gathering dust, sadly, in the background. But I've got it.
Yeah.
And I'd love to know who else has a copy of this.
Yeah, I've not seen that exact one with the. I mean, like you said, looking at it, you immediately get what it is, and can even, like, if you're enough of a history buff, can kind of place it in time too, like. Okay, obviously this is after 1066, but before, like you said, the Stuarts and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm looking at it here on Wikipedia, and there's a lot. As soon as James comes in, he makes he makes that flag into 2 1/4 and then adds like the Scottish and the Irish like harp thing, I guess. Is what it looks like. But
so even more busy.
Interesting. Even busier for sure. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen. Pardon me. I don't think I've ever seen this one like in the wild, or even. I don't even know if I've seen it on a computer screen until now.
Well, there you are.
I know there's a lot of. I know there's fleur-de-lis in like a lot of English heraldry because of 1066 and stuff like that, but had not seen that exact one. So when you flew it the once, did you get any? Well, I don't know how it. To the extent that you ever get like comments or anything like that, did you get any?
No, I didn't get
questions, comments.
No fucker knows what it is, so no, nothing at all.
Fair enough. Is your actually like just curious, like your flagpole that like we always see on your Instagram and everywhere?
Yep.
I can never, like the angle makes it look really tall. Is it super visible from like? It looks like it's visible from like miles around. I know that's obviously not the case.
It's.
But do you ever get any kind of like neighbors or concern, or I don't know. I'm curious about this. All the neighbours around us can see it. I am very conscious of that. That's why sometimes I do pander about which flag I should or should not fly. But no, the only time that we've had a neighbour knock on the door was when I was flying the Zimbabwean flag on their national day. And we had a knock on the door because one of our neighbours further down is from Zimbabwe. And she was just curious of, are you from Zimbabwe? I went, no. I said, but I'm a flag, and took the flag. And she was quite pleased, actually, that obviously seeing her national flag being flown in the UK on her national day. So that's the only time I've ever had anybody reach out. So all other flags that I've flown, including this one, not a dicky bird about, which is fine. I'm good with that. No news is good news. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I was going to say, I'd like to keep my interactions over my flags polite, or I guess polite.
Yes.
Because as you know, I fly a bunch of, less than I used to, but I mean, like I have like all the Soviet ones, and I have all the like constituent. The one behind you that I sent you, actually, the Trans-Caucasian Soviet whatever, federal whatever. That one's got like the biggest star and hammer and sickle out of all of them, I think. But like where mine are, like we have like 2 neighbors that could probably see them, but we're pretty cool with those neighbors, and like I don't know, they don't ask questions, and usually I try not to leave ones like that up for too long. Because usually if I have ones like that up, it's because I'm doing a video of like a transition kind of thing. Like, this is what Belarus was, and then it was this, and then it was this, or whatever. But
that makes sense.
Just curious, because you fly a lot more than I do, and a lot more visibly than I do. So
and I am conscious, and I think I can't even remember whether I've flown this one or not. But I think if I have, it would have been, I'd have hoisted it, filmed it, and then probably taken it straight back down again. That's probably what I would have done that, and then just replaced it with something completely different before anybody notices.
Not the worst idea either. All right. So that's the rare one. Let's go to unique.
Unique, right? So this will be unique, and I know that this is one of 2 flags in existence of this one, and that's it. And I'll explain.
So you could almost say it's rare.
Well, it is another rare. Well, to be fair, the word unique is just a different word of rare, isn't it? To be fair. So
I know, I'm splitting hairs.
Likewise. But anyway, this is a Baltic unity flag. and I can send you a copy of what this looks like if you want to put it up on screen in better detail.
Right.
Anyway, it was the winning design from my big Baltics Bonanza competition, which I ran in early 2024, and had many people submit various ideas about different Baltic flags and redesigns, but that was the winning one, produced by Mr. Flag, that one. Charles and Militia helped me decide on the winning one, and between the three of us, that's the one we chose. And it was a design by Mintan, who's designed a few other flags in the past. The more I looked him up and understood who he was when we were pulling this together, I realised he's put a few together. Anyway, so he's the other person that's got a copy of this, of course, because it's his design. So we sent him one of that as well. But I absolutely love it, and it stood out, that one. So yes, he redesigned if the Baltics were to reunite, or a unity flag of all three of them, this is what it would look like. So and he made a point of the reason he's put Estonia's each of the, let me get this right, the Baltic, let me get this right, hang on. Oh yes, the Baltic folklore sun symbol, that's what those middle symbols are. The design of.
Right.
So he's used the different colours from each of the Baltics flags, Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia, as you've already mentioned. But he's jiggled geographically the flags around in the middle. So Estonia sits in the middle, otherwise you'd have two red sun symbols next to each other, which I think looks perfect, having the Estonia blue, black, and white in the middle. And the other two sitting side by side on that, which is absolutely fantastic. And then the other clever thing that he's put with it is the top and bottom, which is to represent the Baltic Sea. But the colour specifically on the colour C that he's used is Pantone's Baltic colour. So he couldn't have used any other colour. Pantone's colour scheme. So, and it's just a beautiful design. So when Charles is going, right, well, I'll get that produced and I'll get it sent off to Mintan, I said, oh, can I have one as well, because I really do like the one that you've got. So Charles was very kind.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, I love it.
Send me for the purposes of the show notes and everything, if you have like a JPEG or a vector graphic of it, send me that. I'll throw it up on the screen too. And in there, because like you said, that I hadn't even really clocked the fact that he had geographically kind of moved them just for like stylistic reasons to separate those reds and everything, which I agree was the absolute correct call.
Completely, yes.
I think vaguely somewhere in the back of my brain was that Baltic Pantone thing, because I think I watched you and Charles and Militia come up with the. You had like a live video, or maybe it wasn't live, but you had a video of you guys like kind of narrowing down the finalists and everything. And I agreed on pretty much all counts. There were a couple things, like there was one that I liked a little bit more than y'all did, or maybe vice versa. But at the end of the day, I would have ended up on this one too. So, everything considered, I would have agreed that this one nailed it. And this one kind of, I think just to go back like a few episodes, we had Luke Schroer on, and he did one for, I think it was a flag session competition. You might know where I'm going with this, but like he had one that was the What About Wales competition.
Yeah.
And it was similar-ish in that it didn't try to play off of the current Union flag, just like how that one didn't try to play off the Baltic, tricolors or anything like that, or Scandi crosses or anything. His was, it had like similar, obviously they weren't the Baltic design, but similar enough kind of things for England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland in the middle, that had colors and like alternating designs. And then I think something top, something bottom. I know I've got that in the show notes for his episode. Whichever one that was. Ooh, I can't bring that up, or it's going to play the audio probably.
I can vaguely remember.
Episode 53.
Oh, there we go. You want it up in a corner somewhere that the people can go to. Yes, I can vaguely remember him holding the flag up when he received a hard copy of it. And you're right, it was in almost a similar-esque style, wasn't it? As you say, broken down, which I think was a far more powerful symbolism, like this is, than trying to incorporate and mix all together.
Yeah, I think that's what both designs and designers did really well. Is like, don't incorporate elements and colors, things like that, but don't just try and add yellow and black to the Union flag or something.
Yeah.
As cool as that can look, like, I don't know. I appreciated that these were different. And also, Mentan, I am going to meet at Nava 58.
Fab. Excellent.
So that'll be cool.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so I don't know if he watches the show or not. I don't believe I don't think I've talked to Mentan. I don't believe so. But anyway, he'll be at Nava 58, and so yeah, I'll get to meet him then, and I'll tell him you talked up his flag even more. It already won the competition, but I'll tell him that you just wouldn't shut up.
It deserves it, to be fair. It deserves it.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Like I said, out of the ones that you guys had, it deserved to win whatever order that kind of cutting went in. But
yeah.
All right. Before we go to break, do you want to go over the officially unofficial one?
Yeah, we can. Almost leave. Right. So another reason I've chosen this one. A couple of reasons. This is the last time I think I have to climb my sturdy ladder. Now, some of you may or may not should recognise this anyway. So, I am absolutely proud of being able to have found this from VexiArts. Would you believe? I managed to get this from.
Yeah.
So, which is
Kiri, another
Anguilla.
fan of the show.
Yeah. Which is so I was dead proud when I managed to find that, because it was that one I was specifically looking for, and I could not find anybody anywhere that did it until I came across Kiwi VexiArt. That's it. So as soon as I saw that, I had to buy that one, and then just as a side note, I bought. Where is it? Why can't you see it? Anyway, there's hanging just somewhere off-site is the Keystone flag, which I also bought from her as well, and another. I can't remember what the other one was. Oh yes, I can. It was the new Utah state flag.
Oh, New Utah. Yeah. Utah was what we call it here on this show.
Oh, Utah. Excellent. Anyway, so I digress massively. Dolphins. Anyway, that's where we're at. So as you may or may not know, I'm not a massive fan of the British blue ensign flag designs. They grate on me. Anyway, let's leave it there. So
fair.
When Anguilla, when I found out that that their earlier flag before their current blue ensign with elements of the dolphins in it, nationally had that as their flag between 67 to 69, I think it was. Yes. So for 2 short years, sadly, they had that as their national flag, which is, I think, it's a tragedy that it's not their national flag today. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I like it because, again, it's plain and simple. It is what it is. The white is peace. The blue is obviously the Caribbean Sea, or Caribbean, if you want to say. And then the dolphins are to represent endurance, unity, and strength. Very simple, very clean. And the orange on the white is brilliant, which reminds me vaguely of the new what's it flag? This one just here. Oh my goodness.
Syracuse, the first light.
Syracuse, yes. First light, yes. The orange and the white work perfectly on both of these. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And so the strong orange works really well against white, and so I love this flag. What I don't love is the British ensign version of Anguilla. But anyway, that's why that's officially unofficial, that flag, because they do fly it within the island of Anguilla, but obviously officially they use their blue ensign.
Yeah, and the blue ensign is like, it's almost a kind of painful reminder of what could have been / used to be, because like it's for listeners, you can picture what the British blue ensign is like. Picture Australia, New Zealand, etc., but without the stars, say. And then kind of like on the larger part of that, where the stars would be, most of the stars, there is like a kind of like shield crest, or I guess not crest. Christoph will yell at me. A shield thing that's got that same exact thing. It's got the 3 dolphins in the same pattern with the like lighter blue at the bottom. And it's just like it's a reminder of like, hey, you used to have just this part as the flag, but then can't have anything nice, I guess.
And then we fucked it up.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear that. So there's one person that watches all the videos and is a fan of the show. I would shout out their account, but I forget what it's called. I can do it in the YouTube. But and they are a big fan of the ones with the blue ensign type flags, and ones like kind of the older, more armorial, etc. Whatever ones. I don't know how they would explain it, but and I don't know where they live either. But it's interesting to hear it from you in England that you're not a big fan either, and would prefer that this changed.
Yeah, I think I'm of a minority over here when it comes to blue ensign flags. Although, weirdly enough, I'm flying the Cayman Islands today, but that's purely just because of the Olympics, and I've just got to that particular flag on my list. Anyway, so that's up physically on my flagpole at the moment. But that will come straight back down when it's really. But I've never been a fan. And oh gosh, New Zealand missed a trick, and behind your head at the moment is a far superior version of what Australia really should have. It's I could go off at a massive tangent, but there's a commercial break coming, so I can't.
Well, listeners and viewers, just assume that over the break, Tareth went on a massive tangent, and it probably wasn't broadcastable anyway. So we will go ahead and, at Tareth's request, nay, insistence, go to a break here. And when we come back, we will talk about World Vexillology Day. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. And we are back, more with Tareth Peacock as promised, and a little bit on World Vexillology Day. So this is coming up on October 1st every year. And Tareth has been one of the big proponents of hey, let's actually do something about this. Let's have some submissions and get something going. And so that kind of lit a little bit of a fire under me as well to want to do a little bit more than I did last year, because usually it sneaks up on me. I forget until a day or two before, and I'm like, oh shit, I have to get something together for this. So Tareth and I are trying to get a jump on it this year, and I'm glad he reminded me well early so to make that possible. But anyway, Tareth, would you kind of fill us in a little bit on what is World Vexillology Day, who started it, and when and why?
Yeah, so VexiDay, or World Vexillology Day, as you say, is the 1st of October, and there's a reason behind that. So it was first recognised by the International Federation of Vexillology Associations, or FIAV, I think, because it's probably French, so it all swaps the words. Anyway, so they're the ones, I think, who officially recognise that what Vexillology Day should be. Anyway, so they declared that the birthday of modern vexillology, or vexillologists, was in fact the 1st of October 1961. And there is a reason that they chose that as the birthday of modern Vexillology Day, Flag Day, which was because that's the day, he says, looking at his notes, it was the world's first journal of flag studies was published on that day, and it was called Flag Bulletin. It's an original name, of course, for a flag studies journal. And it was authored by a Gerhard Gerhol. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. And, of course, our very own Whitney Smith. was behind it as well.
Go Terriers!
So that's why we've gone with the 1st of October, and I think only as recent as 2015, 16, I think, is where they've started to push this VexiDay or World Vexillology Day as being the 1st of October. So while the 1st of October 1961 is the official birthday of modern Flag Day, as it were, it took a few decades before it became an official day, as it were. And yes, like you, Andy, I usually remember around about the 30th of September, if not the 2nd of October, and realise we should do it. I've missed it. So yeah, this year I thought we should, us as a collective, I don't know what the collective noun of people who are vexillologists, I guess. Some of us should come together and VexHeads, of course. Silly me. We should get together and just promote this VexiDay out there. So yes, this is why, as you say, I reached out to you going, you need to do something. I didn't want to do big fireworks or anything horrific because obviously there's no budget for that sort of thing. But at the very least, between a growing number of us, we should be able to promote this to the wider VexHeads of the world. And on an annual basis, try and make it more of a thing than it currently isn't, to be fair. I know occasionally you'll see on Instagram and X and a few other places and Facebook that people will put up specifically, I'm flying this flag on VexiDay, which is great. But I just think we need a bit of a kick and a bit of a push to get a growing number and more people involved on doing whatever it is they want to do on the 1st of October. One of the things that was interesting when I was reading and doing some research more about VexiDay, they made a point of saying it's not, and I've already called it this, it's not a flag day, in the same sense that the USA has a flag day on June the whatever it is, 14th, isn't it? To celebrate their adopting your flag in 1777, so that goes way back.
Mm-hmm.
And Canada has theirs on the 15th of February, the day after Valentine's Day. Saudi on the 11th of March. Poland on the 2nd of May. So they're all flag days to celebrate national flags for each of their countries. VexiDay is more than that. It's all about celebrating the study of flags, what flags represent, what they mean to you, what do you enjoy about flags, flying your favourite flags. It's anything related to flags. And trying to steer away from it being a national flag of any particular country, because that's not what it is. It's about all flags, national, city, regional, state. It's to cover all of this. And we just want to somehow just push it that we can get as many people out there to start thinking now about what they want to do for VexiDay, whether that's fly a flag or write a post or whatever it is that anybody wants to, whatever you guys want to do. We're trying to get our heads together and just to help push it and promote it and see if we can get the ball rolling on an annual basis. That's my blurb on it anyway.
Yeah. No, that that was good and concise. And yeah, as you said, they do make a point to say it is not Flag Day. There's like even a little thing that you can, so they're like, it's weird because when I went to one place to look it up and it said go to vexiday.org for more info. I tried going to that and that site just doesn't exist, or at least it doesn't load for me. So then I Googled World Vexillology Day. Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, well, I was going to say just on that then, I found that, there's a Facebook page and an Instagram group as well, but they don't seem to be, I might be wrong, and if anybody knows, then please tell me, but they don't seem to be live or current at the moment. And some of the web pages, they seem to harp on the 2016 and 17, but nothing since. So I'm not sure if whoever was running those is not. I might be wrong. And if they are, again, please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.
I mean, yes, or somebody in the community could take these over if they've lapsed, like, if whoever was running them has kind of like lapsed doing that. Alex Tomberlin, in our Discord, and he does a ton of stuff with this kind of thing. He'd be a good candidate. Okay. But because then, like I said, then I so that site led nowhere. Then I Googled it, and it took me to a WordPress, like a blog, basically. So I think what WordPress, I haven't been on there in a while, is, but, and it's got, World Vexillology Day, and then it's on the right, it says it's October 1st, 2022, and then it says VexiDay 2023 is here. And then it's got, like a little very brief, like much shorter than what you just said. And it's got a few links to click on. It's got one that's like why October 1st, and it has a whole 2 sentences on why. Then it has one you can click on that says, how do I celebrate? And that is a page not found broken link. So not promising. And then there's one that says like something about VexiDay is not Flag Day, and then a whole 3 sentences in there. So there's not a whole lot of info out there on it. There's no Wikipedia page for it, which I think we need to correct or make one. I'm not the guy to do it, but somebody could.
That's an interesting point. Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah, right? Like, because I even went so far as to like, sometimes if I can't find exactly what I'm looking for, I'm like, maybe I'm searching wrong. So I'll go into Wikipedia and just type the day. So I just typed October 1st, and once you get past all the birthdays and death days and all that stuff, you get down to like, it's this day every year. But then, sure enough, it's World Vexillology Day is not listed in there. And there's just nothing. So not very well known. We do need to raise the profile of it. Yeah.
That's
make it
the
a
term
thing,
I was
as you
looking
said.
for. Raise the profile. You're spot on.
Yeah. Raise the profile like you would raise the flag,
You're a natural at this, aren't you?
I try. I did have my improv showcase the other night, and got some of that comedy workout, like quick thinking workout done. That also means I'm a little slow after. But yeah, no, I looked it up, and interestingly enough, it was the Portland, Oregon Flag Association, or I don't know if they're an association or what word they use that's similar, but that kind of started pushing it. I guess like it was already technically a thing, but they were like, let's make it an actual thing. And like you said, I believe that was in 2016 from what I looked up.
Yeah.
And they held some kind of live event at like some city park or something to get people to come out and be like, hey, these are what flags are. This is why we're celebrating it, et cetera, et cetera. It's also why I wore this shirt today, because as you said, it's not the flag of any particular place. It's just everywhere. So it's like, I'll break out this ridiculous piece of kit again. And yeah.
It suits you perfectly, and you know it.
It does. Yeah. I'm not mad. It took like 2 months to arrive after I ordered it, and it was like $10, but I can't complain.
$10 well spent.
$10 very well spent. Yeah. But okay. So yeah. So, as far as celebrating it, what are some things that you have done in the past on your end to celebrate it?
Yeah, I've a bit like you. I've not really been that religious, for want of a better term, on it, and I know I should be. So, because I've done no different than hoisting a particular flag for the 1st of October. Well, I do that pretty much every day on my Instagram channel anyway. So, I personally think I need to do something a little bit different for that. Still trying to work out what that will be, seeing that this is just beginning of August, 2 months to get something up and ready, which will fly by in no time, as we know, if we don't plan it soon. So I need to do something else and more, and whatever that looks like. But that's what I want to do. It's, I think, for anyone and everyone else, it'd be just good to be able to flood at least the social medias with flags and a hashtag VexiDay, which I think is what they've tried to promote in the past. And I think we just, over the coming weeks and months, we just need to push that and just make it more of a thing. It's I believe, we're all here because we enjoy flags and enjoy the study of it and the backgrounds and the details and yada yada yada. So why not for one day? Let's just try and let the world know a little bit more that this little corner of VexHeads are a thing, and we do enjoy what we do. And these are the reasons, whatever you want to push out, why you like a particular flag, why you like the studies of flag, whatever that might be. So yeah, I need to come up with a little something, I think, for the 1st of October.
Yeah, me too. I'm trying to remember what I have done in the past. I know last year it did sneak up. I think you were the one that alerted me to it. I don't know if it was like you messaging me, or if it was just like I woke up and saw, since you're, you know, in England, like it's World Vex Day there before it is here, just by time zones. I think I may have just woken up and seen something on yours that was like, happy Vexy Day, you know, and then what, I forget what you would put up, but
gosh,
it just
remember.
reminded me first thing in the morning, like, oh shit, I haven't done anything. I let this same thing happen, like we've been talking about again. So I went out and I did kind of like rack my brain for like, all right, maybe I can like make my flags spell out Vex. So I used, what was it? Antigua and Barbuda for the V. Yeah. I think Cuba, was it Cuba? Yeah, Cuba for the E, because the red of the Cuban, like the chevron, kind of faded nicely into the red from the Antigua and Barbuda one, so it looked like a VE. And then I did Scotland for the X.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then but like it's like hanging from the back of my porch, and I don't have, like, my backyard is kind of like a hill, and so I had to kind of like just go down in the backyard and like aim the camera up at my face, and was like, well, happy World Vexillology Day. It was all of like 10 seconds or something. What's up, VexHeads, and welcome to World Vexillology Day 2023. Did not go nearly as all out as I did in 2022, but I did spell out a fun little thing for y'all. Enjoy. See it? It says Vex. Do you get it? You guys see it? Vex? All right. Anyway, happy World Vexillology Day, y'all. It took infinitely more time to set up than it did to, you know, film and post. Although I'm sure that's something you're used to as well. That's something probably most of us are used to, the setup time being way longer than the finished product.
Oh,
like, you know.
Absolutely.
But, you know, whatever.
It's the curse of it all, isn't it? But yeah, no, you were very, that was very, because then previous year you pulled out all the Nordic crosses, didn't you, one particular year?
Yes. Yeah. The year before. So yeah, 2022 was my first Vexy Day that I had celebrated anyway. First since I had started the show. I think first since I started the show. Yeah. And it did sneak up on me, but I guess I was like, I don't know. I mean, I was just more determined to do something, and I guess maybe just had more time that day than I did on the 2023 one, but I was like, all right, I got to do something. So I racked my brain. I was like, all right, on the first ever episode of this show, I was talking about not owning any flags of places I hadn't been to, but I have since bought a lot of flags of places I haven't been to, including most of the Scandi crosses. And so, yeah, I kind of did this fun little thing where I tried to like flash back to that episode, and I was like, oh no, I don't own any of the Scandinavian crosses. Then I did a little like thinking thing, and I was like,
that was it.
How to spend all of your money. And I was like, and then just bought all of them, hung them all out. Yeah.
To be fair, you've probably done more about Vexy Day than probably any of us, to be quite blunt about it.
And that is the sad state that we're in then, in that case, because it's not a whole lot. That one did take me a while because I was also pretty new at video editing and stuff. So like, you know, there's a few things when I look back at it, I'm like, I could have cut that different or whatever, but who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, we need to all ramp it up this year. Are you taking like any kind of submissions or trying to put something big together? Or are you thinking like, let's just try and get the word out there to a lot of individuals and get as many people kind of doing their own thing on the day as possible?
So I think, yeah, probably more of the latter, because and we'll see how this goes over the coming years and millennia as it becomes. So I think, yeah,
we won't
the idea
see,
is
but
just,
someone will.
Someone will remember it. Yeah, I think we just need to get the message out to the wider being. And I think, you know, if that means getting you, me, and a handful of others to come on board and do some crazy video that I can throw together just to advertise it better in some sort of charity style like video that big celebrities do when lots of them all get together, a bit like a Marvel's assemble type of thing, get lots of VexHeads together anyway, but obviously in a virtual world as opposed to all together physically, and just see if we can really push it over the coming weeks with the lead up to the 1st of October. And then, of course, once we've done that, we can then just bag those videos and just keep bringing them out each and every single year until people are sick of it.
Yeah, which probably will be sooner than we expect.
More than likely. More than likely. Yeah, fair point. But yeah, I think the point is just push it. And I think as a first time round of really pushing it, which I think we need to, is just let's get people to do what they want to do, and then maybe in the coming years, with more people start getting on board with it, then we can start coming up, I don't know, with themes or ideas or whatever going forward. But I think just initially, let's just get as many people out there to do whatever they want to flag. But let's just get the hashtag VexiDay out there, or indeed even the run up to the 1st of October as well. But let's just see if we can get that almost into the trending bit of Vex, maybe, or something.
Yeah, right. Hopefully nothing, nobody like gets almost assassinated or drops out of any races or anything crazy like that on October 1st or the day before or something. I would love like a kind of quiet news, like, I don't know, just like news day and maybe a buffer of quiet news days on either side of it, but it's probably too much to ask.
It is in your world, yeah. I think, I'm sure that the USA will
especially
give us something.
Yeah. Well, can we get any kind of preview on what you may have cooked up for this one for 2024, or is that kind of secret for now?
To be fair, I've thought about it previous, and then as we got ready to start recording here, I was thinking, goodness, it's the beginning of August already, and while 7.5 weeks might seem a long time, to pull together some form of a video that I might want to bring out for the 1st of October. So to me, there's two things. There's the advert of various VexHeads that we can pull together first. So there's that I've got to sort out and coordinate with you hopefully, and we'll get that out and running, because we need to get that out sometime during September, obviously, to get that flowing. And then obviously in amongst that, I want to do a video, whatever that looks like yet, to come out on the 1st of October, which is going to be loosely themed around VexiDay, but there's part of me thinking, well, maybe that needs to come out before. Anyway, so my head's still spinning with all of that. And then amongst that, I've got my normal videos, which I want to get out as well. So now all of a sudden I'm thinking, oh, hold on a minute, this is getting busy now. So I need to get planned and prepared and work out what it is that I'm doing, as opposed to going on the 29th of September. Oh, crap, I haven't done this yet. So get it all out quickly. And so that's how I don't want it to be.
Yeah. And I part of the planning too is getting, so all right, so here's what I'm thinking right now is flags are obviously one of my first and main loves. So is like language. I was a linguistics and French major. I have bachelors in both of those, and hence like the VexDay, like the VEX from last year. But I'm wondering if I can like top that in some way, if I can do like a World VexDay or something. I'm already like going through the options in my head. I'm thinking like, I don't know, maybe Shropshire for the W. Like that's a W looking one, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Unless I'm mistaken.
Yes. No, you're right. Yeah.
The O is obvious. You could do Japan. You could do Bangladesh. You could do a few, I guess, there.
Lao.
Milwaukee People's Flag. Yeah, Lao. Like, yeah, there's a few options there. R seems tricky. So I'm thinking in my brain, like, all right, is there some way I could combine smaller ones and maybe instead of hanging them horizontal, hang two vertical that look like a thing? That's where my head's at right now. I don't know exactly what two it would be. Or you could get an old Rwanda flag.
Hey, why not? Although that is ridiculously awful.
Yeah, it's not like there's rules.
Oh.
Yeah. There's no rules to this. We make the rules if there are.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole point of it.
But yeah, I guess. Right. But yeah, that's where my head's at right now. Is like maybe trying to like spell something out like that. And obviously that's going to take like quite a bit of work because I'll have to put them up, run down here, shoot them, go back and forth a few times and stuff. But yeah, and I may shy away from that idea. I'll have to kind of workshop it a little. But what I was gonna lead into is part of the VexiDay planning, at least for me, if I plan on doing an idea like, well, say that specific idea, is you've got to have the right flags too. I don't currently own Shropshire. So if I want a W flag, I've got to get that like now from Mr. Flag, or I probably would get it from Mr. Flag. And then, there's shipping time, especially me being here in the US and everything. So yeah, you got to plan further ahead than I usually plan ahead for anything ever.
Yes. I might have a Shropshire. I might have one. I'll have a look.
I was going to say, or we can collaborate, like you could just send me a picture of your Shropshire, cropped Shropshire, if you will. Like, we could figure something out there. I don't know. Throw it together with something else. We'll figure something out. This is the brain. This is why we do this early.
Yes, gonna have to. Absolutely. Or
why we are doing it early this time. Yeah.
This time. Yeah, let's see how successful this is before we start looking at next year.
Yeah, true.
And my other thinking is because I know in the past you and a good group of other people got involved when we did a Christmas message and a New Year little video that we pulled together a little while ago. And then time was against me for last year, but then I was thinking this is a very specific religious time of year, of which the entire globe doesn't always celebrate the same thing, which made me think, well, yes, maybe us, as using your term, as VexHeads, maybe Christmas isn't the thing that we should be celebrating. That's why I was going, oh, hold on a minute, there is an actual day that we should be celebrating anyway on the 1st of October. So that's why I thought, right, okay, we'll park the Christmas stuff, and maybe I should use the ideas of what I wanted to do for Christmas, but use it for VexiDay because it makes so much more sense. And it doesn't matter where anybody's religious connotations or not is involved. It's fine because we're all there for the same thing on that one. That was my thinking as well behind it.
Yeah, no, that's smart. And honestly, something I'm embarrassed to say, I didn't even really think of the religious aspect to, not being religious at all. I don't think of Christmas as religious, although obviously I know that it is. It has the word Christ right there in it and everything. Like, of course it is. But I've always just thought of it as, even growing up, it was just like that holiday where we put the tree up and we get presents and there's good food and family and stuff, but even around the world, there's they don't have that exact analogous thing. New Year's would be closer, but then even a lot of cultures, like especially in Eastern Asia, celebrate New Year's differently or on a different date, etc. So I mean, World VexiDay is like the one, like it's the option. I think it's the one day that we can all agree on. Like maybe in the whatever calendar, maybe it's not October 1st, but they still, what day it is. Like God, there was one other thing I was gonna say that I cannot remember. Oh well. Yeah. I was just going to entreat people to I know I say it at the top of the show and usually at the end and sometimes in the middle, like I'm about to here, but VexHeads, join the Discord. Follow us on social media, like not just my account, but Flags in Focus as well. The Discord is where we have like a ton of good, like Tareth is in there. We have a lot of good conversations, not just about flags. The sports channel has been really popping off with the Olympics. which obviously we do talk about flags in there as well. But all that to say,
course.
if you want to help, if you want to help, if you want to help or want help planning your VexiDay stuff, come in there and get ideas, not just from me. You've heard my ideas, and they're kind of hit or miss, but like get ideas from like a big brain trust, the consortium of VexHeads that are in there. And we always have a good time and lift each other up. It's awesome. So
yeah. Like a Borg collective.
The what?
The Borg collective. So I'm just chatting rubbish again.
Yeah, join our hive mind.
Yes.
But yeah, for anyone who can't tell or doesn't know, from your recent, from what you just said and from my background here, I am more of a Star Wars nerd. Tareth is more of a Star Trek nerd, Trekkie, I guess, if you will. But he did, as an olive branch, he did send me a Christmas card last year that had Star Wars on it. So, so we've peace between our peoples and all that good stuff. But
I'm still a massive Star Wars fan. Don't you worry.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You don't have to pick. There's no.
Because then I could go on to Doctor Who and Babylon 5 as well, but let's that's a whole different tangent.
We have just started Doctor Who. We started with the Eccleston season. The reboot, etc., I guess. Actually, we started with the Chudy season, like the newest one. Watched all that, and now we're going back to the Eccleston, and we're going to work our way through it. But Katie is a huge fan, and I have quickly become a big fan too. So,
brilliant.
That's very exciting.
Brilliant.
There was even, this is flag related, so I can talk about it right now, briefly before we go to the second break. But the most recent episode was it was one of the ones during the Eccleston season where there's the kids with the gas masks that are fused to their faces, and they're saying like, "Are you my mummy?" Yeah. And what's her name? Ruby? No, Rose. Rose is the companion, and she's got a Union flag like jumper on, or like like a shirt of some type anyway. But the stripes are wrong. Like the diagonals are wrong. The white, I think, is on top on both diagonals and on bottom on both diagonals. So it doesn't like pinwheel accurately,
Oh. Right.
It's interesting. I forget which I don't know what episode number.
Again. It's
I'll look it up over the break and drop the episode number in afterwards. But yeah,
it's 2 parts.
It's one of those like set during the Blitz and everything.
Yes, definitely. God, I can't think.
And the Doctor even like makes a point of saying like he points out like he's like something about like you got a flag on your shirt. I mean, he says something that's more relevant than that, but and like the way that he kind of like eyes it, but like he kind of like eyeballs it a little bit, and I thought like, oh, he's gonna say what I'm thinking, which is that it's not exactly right, or he's whatever, it's gonna be a plot point or something. And Katie's like, what? And sure enough, no, it never comes up. It's just
so just
a little something for folks like us,
and spoilers, and that will mean something in a later episode or 6 as well. Because they do go back to, I think, wartime London as well, with a different Doctor, but still Rose. And they do talk about the Union flag and the name, whether it's Union Jack or Union Flag. That gets covered, but I'll say no more because I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay. Yeah, because we're blowing through these, so I'll probably get to that one by like next week sometime.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, and you won't get to the spoilers bit until much further on. But that'll make sense in a few weeks' time then, by the sounds of it. We are massively off a tangent here.
Cool. We are, and I think that means it's probably a good time to take our second and final break. When we come back, we're going to get just a little bit more from Tareth on the Flags in Focus rebrand and how that's been going. We'll see y'all then. All right, VexHeads, we are back with Tareth Peacock, and Tareth used to run a channel called Flags in 50. If you remember, we had an episode with him on, a kind of like mini episode, where we were trying to help him rebrand, rename the channel, and I don't know if we succeeded, but he succeeded in renaming it. And yeah, as I mentioned up top, Tareth, it is now called Flags in Focus. So just walk us through a little bit of what changed between Flags in 50 and Flags in Focus, as far as, well, really anything and everything, and maybe even what prompted that change.
It's a good point. Yeah. So I think when originally started, I was Flags in 50 seconds, and that's what I was trying to do is cover a flag in 50 seconds, and then I dropped the seconds and just kept the 50 because I just thought, well, I can do series of episodes that are 50 in length and all this other stuff. Anyway, it was quite limiting, which is why, last year I went, right, no, it's Flags in 50 doesn't mean anything, and therefore we need to go for a rebrand and change it. But I didn't want to go too over the top with changing it. I think you may have said something at the time as well about just almost sticking to what's already known, but not going way out of kilter, as it were. So anyway, from Flags in 50 down to Flags in Focus, isn't it? And if anything, I feel initially, once that became a thing and I rebranded the channel at the end of September 23, it just seemed to, from my perspective anyway, I'm sure the viewers couldn't give a fuck basically what it was called, but from my perspective, it just meant that I wasn't so honed in on this 50, and I wasn't always thinking about, right, what does 50 actually mean when it comes to flags to the general viewer, because it doesn't mean anything anymore. So dropping it completely just sort of meant there was one less thing I had to think about. One of the things I didn't change, however, off the back of that was the series that I've been doing called Flags in 50 Places. And there was a reason I didn't want to drop that series. So the Flags in 50 Places is literally pretty much what it says on the tin. It's me in a different place talking about their flag. And I've done a number of episodes, quite a good number of episodes, as basically when I go on holiday, I go and film a video about the flag of the nation or the state or the town that I'm in.
Right.
And I thought, if I just stopped that, then I can imagine the hardcore people going, well, hold on a minute. We got to episode 13. Where's the rest of it? And I was thinking, so I thought, no, I'll stick with that. So that's why I've still got that one and only series, Flags in 50 Places. And I mean to get to the end of that. And I will do it at some point, probably 22:47. And so that's the only thing. But at least that Flags in 50 Places has a meaning. It'll be me in 50 different places talking about the various 50-odd flags. It's simple, so it makes sense. Right. So, so dropping the 50 and keeping it as focus means that I can focus on the flag now more than anything else.
Hey-o.
And I haven't got this in the back of my head that no one else is thinking except me at the time. But anyway, it's just, for my own mental stability, it just means that I can not worry about it at all.
Exactly. I know what you mean.
And it's all about
most of the things I think are a problem, I'm like probably the only one that notices them.
Exactly that.
Or
exactly
that.
And I think to a certain extent, I don't know whether it coincides, but with the name change. But I've tried to start focusing more on the content and the storytelling, and to try and make the episodes more entertaining than they have been. It's not just some idiot standing around talking nonsense for however many minutes. So I'm trying different things. I've even had there's a couple of episodes that have actually been written by another. And I've taken those, and so I did. Somebody wrote for me the Liechtenstein episode as part of the Flags in 50 when I was in Liechtenstein. That's a busy place. If you ever find yourself
writers
in Liechtenstein, you probably well,
you've made it.
They're not cheap. I know. I haven't made it at all. But however, the Liechtenstein episode that was written for me, I didn't write that one, is at the moment my most watched video. So Liechtenstein got about 40,000 plus viewers at time of going to press here, which is just a phenomenal amount of views that I've had for any one video. And to be fair, so I've got more viewers watching Liechtenstein than there are population in Liechtenstein. So I'll take that.
I didn't even think of it in those terms, but yeah, that absolutely makes sense.
That's my second claim to fame. The first being I've been on Flag for Content more times than anyone else. So yes, second claim to fame, I've had more people watch Liechtenstein than actually live in the country. So it's just
yeah, and I think that is the correct order to be proud of those things in.
No other way. So yeah, I'm finding that I'm focusing very much currently anyway on the Flags in 50 Places series.
Okay.
So just to get it right and where I think it needs to be, because there's a lot of work goes into it, and to get half a dozen views is not what I want to be. So I want to make sure that I can talk about flags in the country that I'm in an entertaining way where people actually do want to sit and watch and listen to it. And so I'm doing my best on just focusing on that at the moment. But I am conscious that I'm not doing as many little mini episodes of stuff which I used to do. However, as we've already discussed with the VexiDay, I'm going to plan and do something around that. So the channel, like most things, it's evolved, it'll change, and no doubt will continue to evolve and change as time goes on, and just tweak it. But the thing the other thing is I've managed to get monetized on YouTube for the first time during this year. Liechtenstein helped me greatly, so thank you very much, Liechtenstein. I'm absolutely rolling in it now. Of course, now I'm monetized by YouTube. Yeah, as you can see, with sitting in a studio with a ladder in the background in baking hot heat, no air conditioning. So long way to go. But I think the point is I just don't want to give up. There are times when you just think, what's the point? No one watches these things anyway. There must be better things to do with my time. But I keep thinking, no, this is a hobby for me. I enjoy what I do. I just want to make what I do better. So let's keep focusing on it. Focus again, just seamlessly pointed in there. So that's where I'm at the moment of just trying to make the channel a bigger and better, and cater for what people want to watch when it comes to the subject of flags and vexillology. That was a ridiculously long answer.
No, not at all. I absolutely feel you on the, kind of going through like phases and like, all right, wanting to see what works, what doesn't, like changing things up here and there. I've had, like, it's no secret that I've kind of dropped like a little bit off the radar for the last like month or two, just like trying to figure out exactly what direction I want to take things, if I want to change this or that or leave it the same, like some mental health things, like a few just like time issues. Planning a wedding takes a lot of time, stuff like that. But life comes up. But yeah, no, I mean, I've still very much enjoying your flags in focus, not flagged. I keep wanting it to draw it right back to my own thing, but flags in focus stuff. I was gonna say, so for our listeners, viewers, or actually for maybe I guess your viewers really too, that may watch this, do you have any, like, I can't think of what they may even be, but tips or tricks or anything kind of in that category for, because you do a lot of traveling and you do shoot a lot of your videos on location, which is very impressive. I'm very jealous of getting to do that. Can you walk us through kind of like, and just briefly, because I know we're a little short on time here, but do you set up like a schedule when you go out that day? Do you say like, hey, like from like around 10, I want to be here because that's when the sun is going to hit this spot really well, or it's a windy day, so let's rearrange a couple plans so that we're here at this time? Or like, how much of it is kind of like regimented, structured, scheduled out, or is a lot of it just kind of like stuff you would have been doing anyway, and you happen to say or see a flag and be like, oh, okay, I've got a little bit memorized, could maybe write a little bit something up and do something on this kind of on the fly, as it were. What's the kind of like mix for planned versus improv, I guess, on that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I would love to be able to answer that it was the first of your points, so that it's all planned. I know where I'm going. I know what location I need to be. I know where the sun is on this place, and yada, yada, yada. It never turns out like that, and it always leans far more to the second half of that. However, what I would say is that the script is always written before I go. So I use the phone as not only to record, but it's a teleprompt as well. So I can't remember jack, so I have to have it all written. And of course, because it's a flag, it's history, it's names, it's dates, it's colour meanings, and it doesn't all sit there, I'm afraid. So I've got to have it all written down.
Right. Yeah.
And sometimes some locations work perfectly for what I'm talking about, or I'm just trying to think now. There have been times where I'm thinking, right, this would be a perfect spot to talk about this element because it all links in with the background, links in with what I'm talking about. Other times it's just, oh, this looks pretty where I'm standing. This is very Greece where I am at the moment. I'll talk a bit here while I'm in Athens and do this bit. So I've done that as well. It's because part of me thinking is that if I'm actually on location and I really need to be showing somewhere of that location behind me, as opposed to in the middle of a car park in a shopping centre, of which I could be in any car park, because that's I did that with the Miami flag for whatever ridiculous reason. When we were in Miami, I found a quiet corner of a park. I think there's a bridge behind me that goes over to one of the islands. But to be fair, I could have been absolutely anywhere on the planet doing that. And it wasn't until later on in the afternoon when we went to the beach, the Miami beach, of course, with all the huts and everything that Miami is famous for. It didn't occur to me until later that evening. I went, oh no, that would have been a good place to film that, because it's the most frigging obvious place to film a Miami episode. He's on the beach anyway. I do try to think more now of where I'm at and what makes it. So usually what we do, my poor other half, is that we'll go and visit stuff, and while I'm there on day one, I'll be thinking, oh, that'd be quite good. There's a flag here, and there's a bit of a location here, and this is, there's the Eiffel Tower, whatever it is. Not that I've done France yet. But, it's big locations that people would recognise. That's what I try and look for as well. Sometimes it doesn't always work out like that, and it's just, look, I'm here on a boat travelling across the Bosphorus in Istanbul. I'm just going to do the Turkish bit now while it's quiet, which I haven't edited yet. I don't even know what that looks like. So there are times where, when you've got like 20 minutes where the other half's doing their own thing or just sitting there and they're still drinking their coffee, I'm just going to go around the corner and film this thing. I'll be back in 5, which usually means I'll be back in half an hour. It's
Katie knows what 5 minutes means at this point. Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to wait for the wind to cooperate. And if you're anything like me, the wind will not cooperate until you've like turned your back and pretended you're not paying attention, and then you got to kind of like sneak up on it almost. Like, I swear I've put up so many fewer, I don't know how to word that, but a lot fewer flag videos here in the last like few months, because every time I go out there, the wind stops, and it's like, I should take videos of that. I should take videos of me walking up to the door, seeing the flags blowing in the wind, me opening the door, and then the wind just stopping, because it is comical. Like, Katie was like concerned about my blood pressure at a certain point because I was getting mad. But anymore, I just laugh, because like, what else are you going to do? Like, it's just objectively funny. It's just like, I know it's not me. I know I am not the center of anything, but it is just too funny that this keeps happening every time. So I know how the 5 turning into 30 thing goes, and I'm sure I'm sure your other half does as well. But
I did that just the other day for the flag in the garden. I can't remember which flag it was I put up. I was staring at it for that long. But where I sit in the living room watching the telly, you can just see the flag in the distance, and it was fluttering away. I thought, I haven't videoed this particular one yet, so I'll go out now. So the adverts of the program we were watching just started. I thought, excellent adverts, nip out there.
Yeah, anyway, perfect timing.
2 commercial breaks later, I'm still frigging standing in the garden going, come on, come on. It gets to a point where you're thinking, I'm not going to leave.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the other thing too is I used to smoke cigarettes. And so like when I would just like be out there and be like, well, all right, I'll just smoke and eventually it'll happen. But I'm already out here anyway, so whatever. But now I don't smoke anymore, so it's like, well, I don't just want to stand out here in the heat. Is because like you're having a heat wave. Like our whole summer is a heat wave, even with the AC or aircon, if you will. But like, it's just it's I guess like quitting smoking has killed my productivity, is what I'm saying.
That's a poor excuse, but I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm gonna clip that out. And no, don't ever, kids, never start. I don't think they are. I don't think kids are smoking nowadays anyway, for the first time in forever.
They're all vaping now, aren't they?
Anyway, yeah, that's true. They got their own thing. But no. So what I was gonna say, just like wrapping it back around to that. So do travel with a plan / a script, for when you get to a place where you might be able to shoot or you want to shoot or whatever. But don't necessarily go out of your way and don't schedule everything around it, is what I'm hearing.
No. If I was doing it,
be ready when it happens.
Then yes, I would be doing it in such a way. Absolutely. But we are supposed to be having a holiday, to be fair, right? Which is why it's sort of fixing. And the other thing I find is that I'm very self-conscious. Would you believe, when I'm out on the street with people everywhere, that there's me sitting there talking to myself and a camera, because I'm conscious that people think, oh, God, another one of these fucking influencers who think they can influence the world. Well, no, I'm not trying to influence. I'm just trying to do a bit of entertaining stroke education on what I'm trying to do. Yeah. I'm just so conscious that, because obviously I'm as young as any TikToker out there. I just get the impression that's what some people. I mean, to be fair, 99.9% of the people walking past probably don't give a monkeys or haven't even noticed that I'm standing there anyway. So a lot of the time I do try and find little quiet corners to stand in. And the trouble is, when you try and find quiet corners, the reason they're quiet is because nobody's there, and the reason nobody's there is because they're not very interesting. So sometimes it's just, it's not quite the right background I'm after.
Yep, that all tracks. Well, hey, for anyone who's looking to go into the field and shoot your own, take that as advice. Because, going to Minneapolis, / St. Paul for NAVA 58 in September. And Katie's coming with me this time. She wasn't able to make it to Philadelphia last year. Yes. And so, I'm going to be taking your advice on that. I'm going to have a lot just kind of ready, but I'm not going to make her vacation just following me around doing flag stuff, because we're staying a couple extra buffer days on either end of the conference. Absolutely. Just to actually get to see the city and stuff. And especially at the end of it, she's going to be so flagged out, even from, she won't be as in the weeds of it as most of us, but she'll be flagged out. So I don't want to put any more of that on her. But anyway, we have got to start wrapping up here. Tareth, I guess this is a good time as any to ask, and we just got done talking about it as well. So Flags in Focus, where can we find it, follow it, all that fun stuff?
Yep, certainly. So yes, the main channel that I've got is the YouTube channel, which is of course Flags in Focus. I do have an Instagram, which is exactly the same name, as well as my Facebook page, which sort of complements the whole things as well. So they're the 3 main areas. I do have an X channel thing, Twitter account, whatever you want to call it.
In this house, we call it Twitter.
Twitter, yeah, exactly. One day it'll come back, and but I rarely use it for whatever reason. and for some reason, I think I may have a TikTok, but I absolutely don't touch that at all for what I don't know why. It's just too many social media things. I can't keep up with it. But yeah, YouTube is the big one for me. That's where I'm mostly at.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Go follow him on YouTube. Watch the shorts, watch the full lengths. Like, yeah, there's no misses, only hits over there. So yeah, been a big fan of yours since before I started, and it's been a honor and a thrill getting to talk to you as often as I have and work together on stuff. So we in the Vex world appreciate you.
Thank you very much. It's
and yeah, of course. Sorry, that's that delay again. We can't do a thank you loop. No, thank you. No, thank
you.
All right, getting us out of that loop, I will go ahead and plug where you can find and follow this show. If you are watching us, you already know we're on YouTube at Flagged for Content. There's so many flags in focus, flags for good, Flagged for Content on YouTube, all spelled out. We have a link tree that is linktree.com/flagged4content, all spelled out as well. And that's actually probably the best place to find all of our links, anything and everything you could want, including that link to join the Discord, because it's too lengthy for me to say, because it's like .gh7, whatever. And then, yeah, anywhere with @ symbols, we are at Flagged4Content, for like the number. And I think that is it. And Tareth, I've got to close down the show now, and I have no idea how to do that because I don't have a single note. I took one note this whole time, and it wasn't that. Do you have any kind of way to walk us out of here?
Well, I can't come up with anything quite as superior as some of your previous guests have come up with some amazing shut-offs to close the episodes. So I shall leave those where they are in the past with previous guests, and I'll just sign off with my closing spiel, which is be seeing you.
All right, short and simple. And VexHeads, we will catch y'all on the fly side. Take care, y'all. Flag for Content is proud to be sponsored by Flags for Good. Go to flagsforgood.com for more information.